What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Gurren Otaku Council podcast. As always, I'm your host, Ace.
And I'm your host, McMillian.
And today we are here with a Netflix anime review of Uncle from Another World. But of course, before we get into all that, if you would like to join me and my friend here, McMillian, as we discuss all things anime and sometimes manga, then please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, as well as follow us on our social media so you can stay up to date on all things about the council. And with that being said, the council is now in session. Let the meeting begin. All right, everybody, welcome back for another week of anime discussion here. Today, we're going to be reviewing, once again, Uncle from Another World, or Isekai Ojisan, as some would prefer to call it. But I think Uncle from Another World is just fine, too.
Rolls off the tongue a bit better, in my opinion.
But all right, we're just gonna go ahead and get us quick started. But before we get started, of course, spoiler warning for anybody who has not yet seen this show. This is your spoiler warning here. Of course, you don't care about that, then welcome aboard. But just for the people who do care about stuff like that, spoiler warning. And I'm gonna hand it off to our friend McMillian here, who's gonna just give us a quick plot and of the in summary of the story, real quick.
Yeah. So, basically, it starts off. I feel like, as most of your uh regular isekai shows will, or maybe a little bit different, but we first start with this character named Takafumi who is visiting his uncle in the hospital after he awakes from a coma. It turns out that his uncle, while he was in a coma, was the whole time his consciousness or spirit, whatever have you, was in a fantasy world. Uh, and basically, the show focuses on Takafumi and his uncle's relationship and how uh, basically his uncle is trying to introduce Takafumi to all the things that happened to him while he was in the fantasy world, and Takafumi is trying to catch up his uncle basically on all the pop culture and technology advancements that he missed out by being in a coma for 14 years, if I'm not mistaken.
17, if not
17
mistaken.
years. Okay,
Yeah.
17 years. And hilarity ensues throughout the show because not only is it just like, hey, uncle, how did you survive like these weird fantasy things? It's also like his uncle has weird niches that he refuses to give up. For instance, he is devastated that Sega lost the console wars and it doesn't make consoles anymore. He refuses to like move past it. He Same thing with like other technology. He, instead of getting like a touch screen, he gets a flip phone, all this other stuff. And not only that, but like he even takes some of his he still retains his magical skills that he got from the fantasy world and uses it in real life to not it's for no other reason other than to continue to make money and be a YouTuber, which I feel like
Crazy.
a lot of people would not do. Um, but that's basically what the series centers on. That's
You know
the
what?
broader plot or
And
summary of
now that you mentioned that, let's just be grateful Uncle didn't decide to go on a revenge spree against his family because they was gonna send his ass away.
They were.
This could have went a whole lot differently, all right. But because Uncle is the person he is, he just came back and he just wanted to be a part of the family again, of course.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, and also that speaks kind of to like the character we see throughout the show as well, because as you go through the series, there are these events that he starts, and you're like, why the fuck is he doing this? And then you find out it's to figure out how to get back to the human, to get back to the regular world, so he can actually like experience his life, which is very rare. I feel like for an isekai, because most of the time they're like, oh fuck that. Like,
yeah, it's not too many isekais where they actually try. The goal of the show is to get back to your the original home world. I mean, there's a few of them every now and then, but no, for the most part, the story is contained in that other world. We're not trying to go back. We living here now.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So I just thought that was kind of like a breath of fresh air. I think with this series specifically, but there's a lot of, I feel like, unique things.
Yeah.
That the show does, and the comedy is great. Like it really, when there are very few times I want to say where the jokes don't land, like because I was laughing my ass off. I was laughing my ass off.
No, I was gonna say this, but no, fuck that. I would just go ahead and get it straight out the way now. There's this one scene where was they? he was with the hero group, right? And they was
Mm-hmm.
going in and banish some monsters, not the goblins. They was at the I think it was
If it's is it
a
the
temple or something.
hedgehogs?
Yes, they was at a
Okay, this
temple, and then
this is one of my favorite scenes.
and then so basically they had to fight the giant hedgehog monsters, which was basically just regular hedgehogs like you see in real life, but just giant
Mm-hmm.
ones. And it come to find out also, like McMillian said, he Uncle got the ability to basically understand. I think how do we explain this? I guess understand all
Yeah,
languages. Is
I've
that how you
I've
put it?
I forget if it's I forget like what they nicknamed it because in my head I want to say it's called Crazy Talk, but that's not what it is. But it's basically when he there's an episode where they explain like when the uncle went to a different when Uncle came to the world, he had just like in most Isekai stuff, if you get to ask a god or whoever
Yeah.
brought you there for something, and he when he gets there he gets jumped because the running joke of the series that he's so ugly he looks like a monster.
And they're gonna have
uh
to lay off Uncle like that now. They gonna have to.
but basically he's like, oh shit, I mean this would go over better if they could just understand because he doesn't speak the fantasy language, so the god
Yeah.
gives him the ability to basically like either for other people to I don't know if it's like that he learns their language and then he's able to speak it or if it's like he makes it so that other people can understand them, but um, regardless, if he's in a desperate situation, he will instantly be able to communicate with whatever he wants to. That
Yeah.
would that would help him, I guess, in the situation. Um,
And so in this instance, he was able to communicate with the hedgehog. And, basically he was asking the hedgehog, he's like, Hedgehog, why are you attacking humans? We can work this out. And then the hedgehog is like, the hedgehog starts it off very good. He was like, human meat is disgusting. And we're like, oh, okay, that's the case. Why we're here. But then he goes and says something like, but I just like attacking humans.
well, yeah,
The
he's
sounds of their screams, agony of screams gives me joy and pleasure.
yeah. So
And then,
it was that it was that, and he said also it feels good to stab things with our spikes or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And then basically he's saying the hedgehog just saying nothing but lines like that. And then eventually Uncle just looks at him like, yeah, and just straight obliterates him like, yeah,
Sets them
you
on
gotta
fire.
die.
Yeah.
You gotta die. And then the other one's just asking him like, what did he say? I'm like, don't worry about that. All right, you don't
Yeah,
need to know.
but it's so funny because like the scene before that is him being like because the hero party in the fantasy world is all gung ho for killing them, and he's like,
Yes.
wait, no, they're like Sonic the Hedgehog.
We
We
can
can
be friends with
achieve
them. We can
peace.
understand them.
We can achieve peace, and then the moment you find out this is what they like, he like, nope, never mind.
I tried. Oh, that was short lived, but no, Uncle from Another World is a really really good time, and I think hilarious. There's not many too many shows that does it this well, and I think one of the shows that I mentioned that does this often is Dr. Stone. But what I'm referring to is how they do the art style with the different facial expressions and the different witty facial expressions, stuff like that, and the dramatic
Mhm.
art styles. They do that so well in this show, and that's one of the things I
I would
like about this show as well.
I would definitely agree. Something I do like about the show, since the uncle, the main character, a lot of his stuff is like focused on like old video game stuff. There's time when
Yeah,
he's in like the fantasy world where they do like the old type of like this is your side quest or quest type thing, and also like where the art is reminiscent of old like JRPGs and stuff like that. I really enjoyed. Uh, how they weave that in there and they show like a lot of personality. That was very cool.
yeah. And then speaking of RPGs, Uncle is basically the RPG gamer who doesn't fuck with the side quests. They just do all the main story
So
quests.
yeah,
That's it. Story quests only, no side quests. Because you can see that, but I'm not gonna spoil this one. But it's some scenes and events that happen in the story where it's like basically, of course, if you do it the right way, it's more cool and fantasy like. But then of course, Uncle just beats Uncle and it's just like, well, why would I do it that way when I can do it this way?
yeah. He's basically like let's optimize this shit. Let's skip the bullshit. Let's just get to the thing, and it causes a whole bunch of funny scenarios.
Yeah,
It's just yeah, it's a good time. It's a generally good time. It was one of definitely after like watching what was our last Netflix one? Blame. This is a lot different, guys. So a lot more enjoyable. So I'm happy to report that you should definitely check
hey,
this one out.
leave blame alone. Okay, it's not that movie's fault that it was the way it was.
Would you
All
say
right.
would you say it is to blame for the mediocre?
Oh man. But then another thing, the intro for this show, how you was mentioning about like the 80s styles, like they did a lot of the 2D art styles for the intro of this
Mm-hmm.
show, and I really love that as well. It's really, really nice. And then the song is good too. But just like the art style they chose for the intro, I enjoy that as well.
Mm-hmm. No,
Really,
yeah,
really dope.
it was really good.
The
Yeah,
little
definitely.
2D retro gaming art style. It's really, really cool. Even if you don't watch the show, you should definitely check out the intro. It's really dope. Um and
I agree.
then so besides Uncle, what other characters do you like in the show?
I thought you'd never ask. His nephew, I really enjoy because he's just a really, he's just a funny dude. Like for instance, he learns his uncle. One of my favorite moments is that he learns his uncle can transform his body into where I don't know if it's like whatever he
Basically,
wants,
what
but
it,
other
well,
people.
yeah, they didn't. Yeah, he never really went into it, but I'm gonna assume it's either whatever he wants or whatever he's encountered before.
Yeah, and at one point in the show, the nephew has a love interest, and to get the love interest to admit that she likes his nephew, the uncle transforms into a love interest of his from the fantasy world. So basically, it's like they can have like a woman to woman conversation, and the nephew comes back and realizes, oh, this is some magic bullshit that my uncle's doing, and so he's like, hey, uncle, you want to do a let's play right now? And they do, and he does it, and then later on, they're like, hey, you didn't upload any game footage, but it's their highest viewed episode. It's the one that went instantly viral. And he was like, yes, it down with the downfall of old men. It's the VTuber or some shit like that. And I was like, oh my
Takafumi
god.
was ahead of the game.
Yeah, he was
He
just
was
like
ahead of the game.
he was like nobody wants to watch an old man. 60 girls is what it said.
Uncle said there's not even any gameplay here.
And Takafumi said no matter. This the revenue right here. This the check.
Ridiculous. Hey, unfortunately, it is the check though. It is the check.
Check.
It's the check. The VTubers figured it out. They figured it out. Props
um
to them though.
but besides Takafumi, my other favorite character is Mabel. Which is, if you don't remember, that's the Ice Clan
Here we
woman.
go.
And see, he's bullying me right now. This is but it's not for the reasons that people think. It is
No, it's
honestly
exactly for the reasons people will think. It's because Mabel is an unstable female, everybody. She is unhinged.
Look, you like what you like, okay? You don't go down to the store and get what you don't want. You get what you want, all right? God damn it. You're not going to shame me. But Mabel is, but besides, I guess that, Mabel's hilarious.
No,
Like,
she is though.
like, like when she was like, she went after the uncle of the show because he basically completed a quest that he was supposed to um get her help with, and it would have done like, and it basically would have done a whole bunch of stuff that would have been favorable for her. But since he circumnavigated it, the town that she lived in basically evicted her, and she was like, God damn it, I was forced to give up on my like solitude because of you. And he was like, what you mean? If you want to stay to yourself, you can. You can do whatever you want. It don't matter what I do. It don't matter what anybody else says. You can do whatever the hell you want. And
Nah,
basically, because of that advice, she becomes like
the
an
villagers weren't having it.
a Templar. People mistake her as a monster because of just like her emotion.
Yeah,
It's so funny.
Mabel get into some crazy ass situations.
She's just so funny to me.
Mabel get into some crazy ass situations. But no, I'm glad you brought up Takafumi though, because Takafumi is my spirit animal. He is my spirit animal. Takafumi is a straight grade A fool, and Takafumi is basically just me in the anime, just sitting there enjoying the stories from Uncle's past and the future. I always want to see the hype fantasy fights. Like, what are you doing, Uncle? Skip this. Well, I don't want to see you in the bathtub, Uncle, for 20 minutes. Skip this. What are we doing?
I don't want to see all this bullshit. Give me the proper fan. It's so funny too because he brought up how many times his uncle circumnavigated like all these fantasy fights. I just want one, please.
And then the duo between him and Fujimiya is just even makes it even better. It's just, oh my gosh, it's great. It's great.
Yeah. No, they're a good duo. I want to say they can help balance out like the main character.
Yeah.
Because their reactions is just so funny, especially every time like Uncle encountered the elf, which is this basically the tsundere girl that he meets immediately almost and going there, and every interaction they have is just it's just wild. It's insane what happens because it's just like if he had the slightest uh what was it social skills, a lot of this shit can be avoided, but it is his lack of awareness that gets it every
Sometimes it's
time.
not avoidable. Like that one time they was in the hot springs and the old girl is in the fucking mountain sniping him from a distance. Like
That
ridiculous.
yeah, that you can't reason with crazy all the time. That is true.
Like I don't
you
know
can
what you're supposed to do about that
you cannot reason with crazy all the time. Ugh.
at all. What did you think about the AOT rumbling parody scene in the show?
Refresh my memory right quick. The AOT Rumble.
So there's a scene where um Uncle comes into one of the towns and he breaks the barriers and then all the monsters start
Oh, all
appearing.
yes. Okay. All right. So you said rumbling. When you said rumbling, I was thinking of the actual
I mean, it
rumbling,
was
and I was
basically.
like,
I mean, but if we're being honest, it was basically that same image because
yeah,
they
it's
had
kind of it
the
was
whatever little dragon and then like all the Titan lookalikes were
like
coming towards them.
what was it, the orcs or cyclops? I forget, but that was funny. Um, to find one that was bullshit because it's just like, oh, this spirit barrier protects all of us, and he's like, I wonder what happened if I break it, and then all the monsters are like, oh shit, it's a party, it is. It's alive. We can now raise the city, and I'm just like, why the fuck would you do that? Oh man, that was just it's just such a bad situation.
So I know you ended up binging it all at one time. Did you watch it in sub or dub?
So I started in sub, and then I went to dub. So what I did was I watched the first episode of sub, watched the second episode, watched the first episode in dub, and
Mm-hmm.
figure out which one I liked more. I watched it. So I mainly watched the series in dub. It's
Yeah, no,
actually
the
a
dub is
very
really really good.
yeah. I was about to say it's actually a very enjoyable experience. I feel like every character does. And one thing I will say, most comedy animes usually the jokes hit harder in
In
dub
dub, yes,
than they do in sub.
because the way the translations and stuff work
Hmm.
sometimes.
Yeah,
So
because there are certain jokes in Japanese that specifically are like work off of wordplay, but
mm-hmm.
in only but would only work if you understand the Japanese language. They, sometimes it might not hit as hard, but so a lot of times I like to watch comedies in English because they'll do a good job of translating whatever that was and finding an American like finding an
Yeah,
English
an
equivalent.
American equivalent. Yeah,
Hmm.
I like. Excuse me. I think they did a really good job with that as well. But yes, the English voice acting is really really good. I think my first watch through I watched it in sub, but then I went back and watched it in dub, and then I almost I don't know if they changed some of the episodes or something from the time where there was a hiatus during the Uncle from Another World. But when I went back and watched it again in dub, it was almost like some of the episodes were different, unless it was just the hiatus was just so long where I just
Like,
forgot
do you mean?
some of the episodes. But it just seemed, I don't know, it almost felt like I was watching brand new episodes for some of them at some
Oh,
point.
okay. For a second, I was about to say like I was going to ask, did you mean like plot wise or animation
Yeah, like
wise?
plot wise.
Okay.
It was,
And
I don't know, it was weird.
that's interesting. I unfortunately did I don't I started it only when all the episodes came out, so I didn't get to see if that I don't know if that's true or not. If so, that's kind of interesting. I wonder.
No, I mean, I could just be, tripping, and it could have just been me not seeing, the episodes for a long time. But that's just how I felt like to me. It just felt like I was watching new material.
Hey, I mean, I can get that though. So, taking a break and coming back to something, you're definitely like, wait, was this a plot line this whole time? Like that, just forget it. Oh man, but did you feel like this series was like unique enough to like uh like their twist of the isekai genre? Do you feel like it kind of made it stand out a bit, or do you feel like it kind of?
Yeah, simply because Uncle was coming back from the other world and not going to it, and we're just we're looking at his adventures that happened while he was in the other world on top of shenanigans, of course, in the modern day as well. So I think it does bring a nice twist to the isekai genre.
Yeah, I would. I think I would agree as well. Like, I think what it does with isekai is affect. What it does with the genre is interesting because it's like, it kind of. I don't know if you've seen it. Devil's a part timer. That ring
Mm,
the
I've seen it, but I know of it, but I haven't watched it. Yes, I
Yeah,
know of it though.
that would be a series I'd probably compare it to because they're characters from a fantasy world that came to the regular modern world, and it's kind of same thing. Like, how do we deal with the
Mm-hmm.
differences? But this one I like because it's like I lived in both, and I'm trying to figure out how to navigate now. Again, like, it's like kind of like a whole Captain America thing. Like, what do I need to get caught up on? What's
Yeah,
happening? But also at the same time, I'm very set in my ways,
yeah.
and therefore it causes a lot of hilarity to ensue, especially with the whole like I kept magic, but I'm a YouTuber and I'm not doing anything else. I because in my head I'm just like, why would you not try and see if you could just make money with the
Yeah,
magic?
because I mean that's basically what the show is. We're going along the ride with Takafumi and Fujimiya with watching uncles past adventures, along with watching them get uncle acclimated back to the modern days and stuff like that. And uncle basically just not having it at all because we see that because he doesn't care. He knows that this flip phone can't make calls. He decided to still go back to the old flag system. When the
Mm-hmm.
last time humans used flag system?
I
Have we
don't.
ever used a flag system before? I'm pretty sure we have, but
Yeah, I mean
when is the last time
I
we
mean
used the
technically.
flag system? Well,
So
technically, we're still using one today with the American flag, but I mean to communicate like on a daily basis,
okay, well I was
besides
like
the American flag.
on a daily basis, I don't know, but I do know, like, for military stuff like that, flags are still used to communicate some type
Yeah,
of messages, and also a little bit of just lifeguard
but
knowledge. If
that's
you
the
ever,
military, though. We're not in the
well,
military.
I was just about to say, like, the only other thing I can think of civilian level, if you ever go to a beach, beaches use flags to tell you how like the water is today, like if it's safe to go uh, out into the ocean or if not. Like, so they have green, yellow, and then red. Red basically meaning like, hey, don't
Yeah,
swim today, like stuff like that. So I mean, where's things we use flags for?
it's
But yeah,
rare.
it's rare. It is definitely a rare occurrence. It's not something that happens all the time. But yeah, no, I really do. I will say I think they hit a very good mark in how they decide to set themselves apart.
Well, you know what? Since you excuse me, since you also seen Konosuba, do you think the comedy matches up to Konosuba's level?
In my opinion, Konosuba is still funnier.
I mean, okay, I mean
Like
that's
it's still,
fine, but I mean, I guess is it in the ballpark though? Is what I'm
yeah.
saying.
I would definitely say it's comparable because both of them kind of lean distantly into like the RPG or fantasy genre and like make fun of certain aspects of it. It's
Yeah,
comparable. In a lot of ways, I think like some of the comedy aspects are very comparable, but also Konosuba does a really good job of like I feel like refining not only like the making fun of fantasy tropes, but also anime tropes in general, and like kind of flipping them on their head. So I think that's something that in a way that Konosuba has this beat. But I will say if you're watching this and you enjoy Konosuba and like you haven't checked it out, Uncle from Another World, I will say I think you'll have a good time with Uncle from Another World.
I agree. I agree. Um, and I think, excuse me here. Another question. I'm just looking at my
I
document
docket.
here. Yeah. Um. So another one of the questions that we wanted to go or just go through was for the continuation of the series here. I don't really think it's going to change much because we haven't got a season two, or I guess let me preface this. So we haven't got a season two announcement yet, but the way the season ends, it kind of basically sets
Very
up
open ended.
open end is like, hey, um, there's a chance for us to come back, basically.
Yeah.
And I don't really think the series is going to change much from how it is. I think it's basically just going to be the same formula. Takafumi and Fujimiya, just watching Uncle's adventures. The only thing I think might change is like the side characters that come into the modern day. Of course, like how do they spice up the modern day shenanigans,
Well,
if you
yeah,
will.
I'm about to say because that's kind of what it looked like was happening at the end of the first season. That shooting star very much, I felt like was that a teleportation or like somebody coming over. But I am interested, I think, to see how, if people come over, what the flashback episodes will look like. Well, not flashback episodes, but the episodes where they break down what happened in the fantasy
Oh,
world.
you talking about the people
Because
from the other world come
because
over?
because I think it'd be interesting. Because I think one thing Takafumi and Fujimiya would definitely do would be to ask, "Hey, can you show us adventures from your perspective? One, to see if they match up with the uncles,
With the way
but
how Uncle
also,
saw it, yeah.
yeah, but also to see like what hilarious adventures they themselves possibly got into. I think that would be a good
Yeah, because Uncle wasn't with them all the time.
yeah, and also he even says, which I feel like kind of is as a writing standpoint. I don't know if this was good or bad, but he even says like after that big fight at the end that they didn't really hang out that much after, or
But
like
then,
not a lot.
yeah, he
Or
said that. But then, right after that, Takafumi was like, "But yeah, Uncle, your memory of how you recall things is a little iffy, though."
be that's what,
So,
but that's what I'm saying. Like, I think it'd be interesting to bring them in to see if certain situations were how he was exactly telling it, or was he like, oh shit, I did forget this, and that, or like, was this even accurate? Because sometimes people could tell a story and it be like how they perceived it, but in reality, it could have been something totally different. So
yeah.
it'd be nice to see how, like, if the Elf or Mabel came back and they were like, no, that's not how the story actually happened. This is what your dumbass did. Like,
I think if anybody came across, it would have to be Elf
yeah.
because I mean, why not? It's Elf.
I mean, so we already set a precedent that she follows him a lot to the point where he
Yeah,
thought
because
she was trying to extort
so
him.
I would not be surprised if a portal just opens up one day and Elf comes flying through and she's like, "Yes, I finally did it. I finally figured out a way to get here." And you're just like, "What?"
I'm here.
Basically, basically. Oh man, because she is crazy. So, and then while we're also on the topic of Elf here, um, I don't know if you caught this, but at the very beginning of the series, when when Uncle's introducing Takafumi to the other world and all that stuff, um, we see in what he's showing him all the stuff he brought back from the other world. That's what I meant to say. We see that he actually still has the ring that he gave Elf, so that either means something happened, or maybe Elf gave it back to him so he can remember her by. I don't
Well,
know,
I
or it's just one of those
and
rings. Maybe he had seven identical rings of those
well,
same kind. Maybe.
that's what I thought, because that's why I thought, or that either that or he figured out a way to produce them, because he kept giving them to people in the series. Like, he gave Mabel too, and I was like, he about to die because he keep doing this in front of other people, and it's the same thing as like proposing, like.
Ridiculous. But yeah. So maybe something bad happened between him and Elf in the future, or maybe, like I said, she just gave it to him as a memento, or maybe he just had multiple of the same type of rings. Ain't no telling what Uncle, but like he was handing them out like candy though. We're
Mhm.
crazy.
Yeah. I'm very, yeah. So if they did continue, I think they have a couple of avenues that could go down, and I would be interested to see how they continue, like how they would continue with that, and basically if the comedy would hold up and or even like evolve, I guess, as they continue. Because
I
there's a lot
agree.
of I just feel like there's a lot of things they could do with one his whole magical ability too. If people just start popping up from the other world and how they interact with regular society,
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be interesting.
All right, and then another one of our discussion topics we wanted to go through here today is what would you do if you came back from another world and you kept your powers, whatever the powers they may have been.
Now, I think this is just very interesting in terms of just like implications. Because if you one, like, let's say you have the uncle's ability, which is what being able to talk to magical spirits in this world and do ridiculous like abilities. I mean, granted, you got to pay the spirits, but the spirits
Okay,
aren't.
so I guess no, let's keep it in that frame then. What? Oh, if you have uncle abilities and you came back, what are you doing then?
Well, one, I would probably become, if I wanted to keep a mundane life and not become like a superhero or something, I would probably become like a translator for like a company or something like that, and that's really good money.
Yeah, it is. You get to
Especially
travel the
if,
world too.
yeah, I was about to say you can travel the world, and then two, and because his whole thing is like understanding anybody or anything or anyone. I just feel like and an ability you just put down a job resume. I am multilingual, and the moment you get called in for an interview and they test your shit, the ability activates because you need it. So you got it.
Yeah.
So that's one. But if I was trying, I guess if I was trying to do like extraordinary shit, uh, I would probably solve a lot of Earth's problems right now. Like I'd probably like be
Not
like,
Earth
okay,
problems. Okay, there
well,
we go.
he created water, which is a huge issue.
Did he? Okay, yeah, there was a
Remember
story
that was
with
like
it.
the
Yeah, okay,
that
yeah.
was like one of the
There's a
first
plot
things.
line. Yeah.
He created water in that town. First off, that town is ungrateful as hell. I get it. It's the religious aspect of it. But like God, a man created water, clean water, and that time frame.
I
That's
mean,
insane.
listen, you got folks out here starving, and we got an endless supply of water. I don't think it really matters how we got this endless supply of water. Why don't we just be grateful that it's here? Huh? Why?
Exactly
What
right.
about that? Well, have
If,
we ever thought about that?
is that nope? Chase him out because he looks like an orc. Yeah, that's a smart decision. So I mean, I'd probably try and tackle some of like I maybe just because I just care about people. I'd just try and tackle that like some of the issues
This man finna start the
that we
My Hero
face.
Academia.
Probably, probably. Probably. I can't say if I'd be a good guy or a bad
he
guy
gonna
though.
start a system. He gonna start a system out where he's giving everybody his powers on an hourly
Oh
basis.
no, I didn't say that. I didn't say giving people powers. I just said like making inventions that help solve problems.
how you expect everybody to go out and solve the problems then
I didn't
without
say
powers? I
I
mean,
I didn't say you do. You just make a couple of those water generating things, a larger scale, drop them off in places. Be like, hey, you now have clean water.
yeah.
You ain't got to worry about it. I'm gonna go over here, fix the polar ice caps. Boom, we ain't got to worry about the sea crisis no more. It's all good. Like stuff like that.
Well, I
I ain't
think
about to.
well
I ain't
for
about to be
me,
Oprah Winfrey with this and be like, you
I'm
get a power
done.
and you
You
get a
get a
power.
power. You get a power. I feel you. No, I feel. But I guess for me, if we're going the save the world route first, I'm going the technological advancement route. I don't know how, but I'm gonna figure out some way to
Like
use my powers to advance technology. I don't know
mix
how.
magic with science,
Maybe not
or
necessarily magic with signs. Like maybe there's some stuff we couldn't figure out because we couldn't do a certain thing because the science isn't there yet. Like underwater exploration, for instance. Like there's only so much of the ocean that been explored
discovered.
because of
Yeah.
and discovered because of the technology and things of that nature. What if my magic can help that out? I don't know what ways. Maybe just me, taking something and going to the bottom of the ocean. Who knows? Can I survive that? Maybe, maybe not. But
Gonna
we'll
find
find
out.
out next time on Dragon Ball Z. Um, but yeah, something like that. Maybe advanced technology in some way or some fashion, hopefully. And if we're going the I guess nonchalant route, I don't know. The YouTube route is a smart way. I'm not gonna flex, but definitely using my powers to make money in some type of easy way. Man, not necessarily YouTube, but I don't know, maybe
I
farming
just
because
feel.
you can. What was up?
Oh, I was just saying on the YouTube thing. I just feel like that's a slippery slope to the point because like if someone like just decides to download a video, analyze it for like VFX and stuff like that, they'd be like, hold on, there are none here. This motherfucker just
Well, I
doing
mean,
this
well,
shit.
that's for you to decide.
That would just be one worry I'd have, and a two content as I mean we're doing it right now, but also content creation at a certain point. Like some people, you do certain things, and then people are always like, I want it bigger and better. And
And then
how
also
far?
think about it. He's basically being a magician on YouTube, but why not just be a magician in real life?
That's a good that is fair. I just the content create thing. Well, I was just like, eventually they gonna ask him to do like a magical nuke or some shit. Like,
Think about all the underwater record magic tricks that you could break with magic, like
well, real magic. Just piss off everybody in the magic community. You know what I'm
basically
saying?
start
Oh,
doing
but
all the death defines magic stunts with ease.
they're like
Just
Chris Angel, who?
we're bringing what's that movie you know what I'm talking about, the one with
Now you see me.
yeah,
Okay.
there you go, we're bringing Now You See Me into full effect.
I just feel like
Full effect.
if you had those powers, I don't know if you need a team of
I
magicians.
mean, ain't nobody saying a team. I'm talking about that's how the shows is gonna be like though. You know how grand their shows was. I'm saying, but
True.
that's how that's how the shows will be. It will be on some Now You See Me type stuff.
Mm,
That's what I was saying.
okay. I see the vision. I see the vision.
We taking over the industry. Okay. And any other questions or discussion
Do you,
topics that we
I
missed
think
here?
the only thing I think I have is before we like close out and stuff, give a
Mm-hmm.
rating and all that. Do you think you would have been hard pressed to make it back to the regular world
You see,
if you found yourself in the fantasy?
that's always a question I ask myself with any isekai world, especially now that I'm married. So it's like, okay, when I
Mm.
go to the other world, it's like, would me, and my love for my wife and everything, would that be enough for me to want to come back to another world? Because at the same time, it's just like, another world, that's a whole new experience. I might just try to make it back just to bring her back with me. You know what I mean? Like, this is a whole new, this is basically something that doesn't even happen in your lifetime. Stuff that you can't even fathom happening, just happening. Like, what do you mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's basically like saying aliens are real. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, no, I totally get it. I totally get it. I didn't even think about it. I guess from that
well,
aspect, you do.
not saying like aliens are real. It's like the alien invasion actually happened, rather.
Yeah. I mean, and that's a good perspective because I didn't even think about it, like from that aspect. Like you have people like more than just, especially like more than just like say family. Well, I mean, she's family, but like you have obligation to someone. So like it's kind of
Yeah,
like I need to figure out how to come back, even if it is just to simply bring her here. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I think for me, I don't. I think I it depends. I feel like I'd have to figure out like what are the parameters. One, that I traveled here for? Am I dead? Like, did I have to die to get here? Because if so,
That's
I might.
another thing. Like, yeah, did I have to die to get here? Because if I already died and I got reincarnated in another world, then it's all I died. I don't live that life. I'm here
Yeah,
now.
I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I'd try that, but like, if it was one where it's crazy because I don't even know. Did he explain how he knew he was in a coma? Now that I'm thinking about it.
Well, because that's weird as well, because how when they explain the episode where they show us where he first arrives in another world, it's like his body actually gets created there, so it's almost like he wasn't in the coma as well at the same time. It's really
Yeah,
weird.
yeah.
But
I guess that's a plot hole right there. But I
best unless
guess
she made him another body and just transferred his consciousness to that
consciousness.
body.
I mean, that's what I think happened. But I'm saying like, how how did he know that? Is the only thing because
Yeah,
they never said the God total. But
yeah.
I guess if I
I mean, well, they
knew,
saw it in the replay.
I guess if I knew that my body in the fantasy world was tied to my real body, I think that would give me more incentive to try and come back because it's like I
I
didn't
agree.
really die,
Because on that
which
point we're on some
means
SAO type shit. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
because I,
So
I'm about to say then my obligations to that I have to family, friends, and everything, those are still there,
yeah,
and I need to figure. And then at that point, it's like as much as I enjoy being here, I kind of have to figure out how to get back.
yeah.
The full,
So yeah,
whatever.
it depends on the qualifications of the isekai. How did I get isekai? Did I
Hmm.
fall in a portal? Did Truck Coon come and take
It
me out there?
take my ass out. Did he
How did
whisk me away?
did he whisk me away, or did I live my life and just died and just got incarnated that way? What happened? How did how did this happen? You know what I mean? That plays a major role in how am I going to decide on going back to the other world or not?
No, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, it's a lot to consider. I think it is does determine the circumstances. Um, but with all that, let's get into rating this series. You want to go first, or should I?
Yeah, I'll go first. I'll give it a solid, smooth eight, and really, most of it is really just off pure enjoyment. I had a blast with Uncle from Another World. I like the themes of the shows. I like the plot. The characters are all funny, even though we don't have like a lot of different side characters. But I guess for the most part, all the characters they showed had depth to them. Besides, maybe like two or three of them. But once again, they didn't show a
Hmm.
lot of side characters. But once again, no, the character's really good. The intro was fire. Once again, please check out
Yeah,
the intro. Intro is fire. And then I was just laughing my butt off a lot throughout the series. I mean, a lot. I enjoyed the series a lot.
yeah. No, I completely agree with Ace. This series is definitely a strong 8. It does a lot of things well. Like I said, it doesn't have a lot of side characters, but the ones it does, I feel like add to if not the story, at least the circumstance of like this is a comedy, so they
Yes.
are there to enhance the comedic elements. I feel like of the show, and they do an amazing job with
Yeah.
it. Every circumstance is great. It even has you can even argue that it has a little bit of depth with how, for instance, Uncle kept putting themselves in those hilarious, albeit weird situations, because he truly just wanted to see if he could make it back home. He knew like a big event got him here, so he was like, just just now, if a big event could send him back, and it just happened that hilarity ensued all along the way. So
Yeah,
it told a really fun and very enjoyable story, and it'll have you laughing your ass off. I feel like on a lot of, like, if you
100%.
understand any of the references or stuff that it's trying to do, it'll definitely have
Yeah,
you like
and then
just
on top of
laughing
it,
for hours.
like you just mentioned, I didn't understand like all the references, but I understood a lot of the references, and I think that's
Yeah,
also what played more into my enjoyment of the show. Like for instance, like all the Sega and Dreamcast and stuff references. Like I didn't play, Dreamcast, and that was a little bit, way before, not way before my time, but that was a little bit
it
before my
was
time.
before.
But it wasn't so before my time that I don't know what it was at all. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, and also I feel like well, let's say, like, I just feel like if you're a gamer of any age, you can kind of relate to somewhat what like is happening, because like everybody had a system that came before,
Yeah,
or a series that came out that's still popular, but like its infancy wasn't when you like were around. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So I feel like in that aspect, it's easy to connect with that. But a lot of a lot of like the comedy, I feel like is situational, and you don't even necessarily need to fully understand all those things. It does a good job of just like kind of making fun of the situation and just
yeah.
like the what's happening at the time and the people and how they react. It's a good time. It's a really good time. I definitely recommend this series.
Well, yep, same here. Definitely recommend it. And I can't wait for season two. Hopefully, we're not waiting too long for a season two announcement here. Like I said, the way the story ends, they kind of do allude to that. There's more information. That not more information. That there's gonna be more story to tell. But that we just ain't got a season two announcement yet. So hopefully we get that here soon, and they're not just doing an 86 on us. We're still looking at you, Aniplex. All right,
Please, please, please.
still looking at you, Aniplex.
Yeah. Um, no, hopefully this does get a continuation. I would like to see how this evolves um, and continues. But with all that, I'm gonna go ahead and take us on out of here. So as always, ladies and gentlemen, appreciate you for watching this last listening. If you want to stay up to date on all things about the council, please consider following us on our social media as at Gurren Otakus on Twitter and at Gurren Otaku Council on everything else. If you would like to share your thoughts and opinions on the series with us, please consider follow, like, comment, and subscribing with us on YouTube. Helps our channel grow, and we would love to hear your thoughts on this hilarious series. If
Yes.
you're listening to us on audio, as always, please go ahead and share us with your friends, as well as write a review. Can help us the podcast grow and all that jazz. But this has been another Netflix review special for Uncle from Another World. Um, this is GOC saying meeting adjourned. Peace, guys.